Working with copper is not easy. It's an old material. It's not like working with steel or stainless steel or even aluminum. The intricacies with working with copper can be challenging.
Trillium was founded in 2013. We started as a very small brewery on Congress Street in the Fort Point Channel neighborhood in Boston.
We now operate 3 year-round locations. For us, it's really about what's the next thing that we can do, what feels intuitive and authentic, and how can we build from here.
Spirits are the right fit for Trillium because it's just that natural expansion of hospitality. It's this natural extension of what we have at our farm and our agriculture program. And also when you've got a brewery, you're sort of 90% of the way there to being a whiskey distillery as well. So there's sort of a natural fit for us. We had actually found a few different distillery equipment manufacturers, and frankly, I saw Revival on Instagram and stopped me in my tracks.
So Revival is a design and manufacturing company. We specialize in creating beautiful and quality stills that distillers can feel proud about displaying in their distillery and also create some amazing spirits from.
The unique thing about Revival is that we're not just a fabrication shop. Distillers from all over the world can come to us for advice, consulting, and then once we've gone through all of that, we go through the process of 3D modeling and going back and forth with the client to make sure that the still is exactly what they want. And then we actually fabricate it right here in our shop in Sidney, BC on Vancouver Island. So oftentimes clients will come to us with an idea in their head of what they want their still to look like. And at Revival Stillworks, we have the luxury of being able to take on those customers that want a very unique and custom still.
And I think that most distillers are thinking about being as efficient as possible, whereas Trillium is thinking about highest possible quality. And I think that the folks at Revival, they get as excited about what they do as we get excited about what we do, and to feel that energy coming through is always really cool.
We are actually reviving the whole industry of copper smithing, copper working, and also reviving the craft distilling movement that's making its way across North America right now.
We really have our foundation and will forever and always be a brewery. And while we'll always continue to evolve and progress our beer and brewing program, our aspirations continue to add to that hospitality experience, add to our guest experience. It is never instead of brewing, it's in addition to. We really get excited about kind of meeting that moment and then exceeding the expectations for our guests. We've been able to design and distill a spirit that can go into a cocktail that just is incredible for that moment, for that one person. That's really what drives and motivates us as a team, but me in particular. The design for adding the distillery onto our existing facility, we've been calling that phase 2A of our work here. So we started with building the tap room and the restaurant and the pilot brewery, and now is the time to add the production distillery. As we were doing the design and the build phase, we then were partnering with Revival to make sure that this equipment would land in time.
Every still we make is unique. Every still is custom made here, designed specifically by our engineering staff to produce the spirit that the customer is looking for.
Creating some of these interesting shapes and curves in copper is not an easy task. Generally, we'll start with water cutting out the initial piece. We will then look at either spinning, forming, hammering, and shaping through other methods to get the desired profile that we want. Distillers, it's a very unique and personal, passionate engagement that they're in, right? And so they want their equipment to reflect that when at all possible.
How we approach and think about craft spirits is similar to how we first thought about when we started making beer, is that there's the efficient way to do things, and they generally strip away a lot of the personality, a lot of reflection of flavor and aroma. If there's a way for us to do things that meet some sort of dream state that isn't the most profitable thing in the world, then we're happy to do that. Trillium decided to go with a continuous column, which allows for continuous production of whiskey or brandy or rum. as well as a pot still, which is a hybrid pot still, which has all kinds of flexibility in how we can produce single malt whiskey, we can make gin, and there's also a vodka column that allows us to be as flexible and produce the full range of all the different spirits that we intend to produce. In order for us to be able to house these stills and actually put them on display for our guests, we actually had to build a new part of this building. So we call this spot our forever home. We were able to purchase a 20-acre property here in Canton, Massachusetts, and build out our dream restaurant and tap room and beer garden, our dream brewery, and our dream distillery.
So before anything gets dismantled and shipped out, we have an extensive list of quality assurance that we go through to make sure that every aspect of the still lines up to our stringent quality control measures. Once we dismantle it from our shop, we then create custom pallets for every piece. Everything gets secured down and everything gets shipped in a dry van. And it's a direct shipment that once it leaves our facility, it's not stopping until it gets directly to where our customer is located.
JC and I feel it's important for us to invest in a sustainable future because Trillium is part of so many communities and so many other people's lives, and we recognize that, and so we want to make sure that it can continue to be a place that our team can rely on and that our communities continue to have places where they can trust and come just to have a good time with their friends and family.
In order for us to be successful with craft distilling, we're going to continue to take the same approach that we take with hospitality, we've taken with our beer from day one, and kind of just only deepen and extend those stories that we've only started to tell. We are growing grain at our farm and making estate whiskeys and making highly intentional, really interesting botanical gins and amaros. It feels already very intentional to our team, but once we finally put them in front of our guests and we're able to tell that story, I think it's going to feel really good.
Once we've built the still in our shop, we've put it all together, we've tagged all the plumbing, we take all of the pictures that we possibly can, then we have to take the whole thing apart.
So once the customer receives the still, everything will be wrapped. So when they open up the doors of the truck, that's what they're going to see. And then they unload all the different pallets, they start unpacking it, it's like Christmas time for the customer, and then from there they start assembling the system. It's kind of like adult Lego at that point.
You know, it's a moment that you dream about for years and years and years, and then when it finally happens, you know, it's a little bit like Christmas.
There was over 2,000 small distilleries in the United States before Prohibition. After Prohibition, there was really only very few large manufacturers that were licensed to produce spirits. It wasn't until about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when some brewers really started to say, hey, why are we not creating craft spirits?
So we started Trillium with the intention of being a modern New England farmhouse brewery. Similarly, we want to apply that to spirits. So why wouldn't we utilize modern processes and techniques and equipment to do something that has evolved naturally over centuries?
With Trillium, you know, we're taking some old style technology and merging it with, for example, automation. So their system is completely automated, allowing them to produce spirits much more efficiently, much more consistently.
It's a really amazing mashup of functionality and art. We are creating functional pieces of artwork, and that's what I really love about designing stills, is that you design them, you go through the whole conceptual stage, you get to build them, and then you get to see this beautiful piece of artwork set up at the distillery, which then in turn makes beautiful spirits for the distiller.
Some of the learnings that we're going to have in this process, they are going to take decades. And I've only got so many iterations in my lifetime to be able to get that right. I get to live out my dreams every day with Trillium, and I had this wish list of all the things that I wanted to be able to accomplish, and through the support of our customers and our team and everybody else around me, I've had to write an entirely new wish list. Dreaming is what I get to do and sort of live in that dream state every day. It's incredibly rewarding.